this has been, your participation here has allowed us to communicate with each other. So thank you, interpreters. And lastly, I want to bring up for the closing, oh, yes, actually one other thing. Before I hand I want to thank Soraya, who has been such an anchor in coordinating and dealing with the logistics. And all of, Viva! Doing all sorts of background work that we don't even know about, putting out fires and dealing with crises for many weeks now. So thank you for all of your hard work and your attention to all the details. And I want to thank the TUED team, which has been pretty amazing, working nonstop, 24 hours, getting up at 4 in the morning to present online, tweeting, at every hour of the day, and writing documents for, for everybody to consume, but all night long. And we look forward to working together with this bigger team and the global team as we put forward a public pathway. I think, Lala, you wanted to make an announcement, and then I'll introduce the closing speaker. Go ahead. Oh.
Before you head out, if you are willing to have your portrait taken with one of our posters, please, I'm going to be taking photos in this corner, and you can choose your favorite poster, and this will go in the summary video of this meeting. Thank you.
Thanks, Lala. And I just want to say that we'll make these posters available to people through the online template. And if you have the capacity to print them for your unions or your members to share, because I think Sean mentioned this earlier, a lot of the messages here are some of these bullets that we're trying to get across in terms of messaging that's in the position paper. And so we'll share those files with you, and feel free to use them however is useful in terms of popular education. So lastly, I would like to bring up the GS from SAFTU, Zwelimzima Vavi, who all of you know, to do our closing words for this 3-day meeting. Over to you.
Comrades, by the way, while Zwelimzima is getting to the front, I just want to let you know that the National Center of Chile, CUT, joined TUED yesterday, and that is another national center joining our community, and one with a phenomenal history of struggle. So we welcome CUT from this distance, and also thank Lala for all the work she did to get working with CUT over the last several years, really, in order to get them to join.
My watch tells me that it is 6 minutes after 4 o'clock in the afternoon in our region. This conference should have come to an end 6 minutes ago. And everything I wanted to say, to thank everybody that is here, every presenter, every support staff, and everybody that have made a contribution to ensuring that this conference is a success has already been thanked on my behalf. So I have absolutely nothing to add in relation to that. And I want to conclude what I want to say in the next minute. The two things I want just to emphasize as we close. The first one is that I'm inspired by the contributions that have been made, because most, if not all of the contributions made do recognize that the departure point of what we are dealing with in this family in TUED is about recognizing the capitalist roots of our ecological catastrophes. That's our starting and our departure point. We are in a crisis because of the system that we are finding ourselves in. It is it that is causing the climate change. It is it that is exploiting ourselves, and it is that system that is destroying the environment, and it is that system that is creating inequalities between us and within all of us. And therefore, the central coordination we're seeking to do is to recognize that we are involved in a bitter class battle as the working class and our friends against the system that is exploiting us and that seeks to destroy our environment. That's our first point I wanted to say. The second point I want to just raise in 1 minute is that we can have all of these conferences. We can go to Brazil, we can go to everywhere else in the world and come back to South Africa many times. But if we do not have a strategy of ensuring that what we're discussing here is infused into our organizations and becomes the programs of the organizations, everything that we have said, every knowledge we have gained, and every information we have shared will be not worth the paper that it is going to be written on. Everything depends on organization at the end of the day. And we have been lacking there. Look at the example of South Africa. We are on stage 6 or 8 of load shedding, 11 hours a day. There has been no united action by trade unions in South Africa, uniting with the allies elsewhere in society to raise a finger against the catastrophe that is unfolding in our country. Let me repeat, there has been no single action I know uniting the trade unions in our country to protest against this unfolding calamity of load shedding, deliberately engineered by the other class to collapse ESCOM in order to privatize it and hand over electricity generation to the other class so that they can use it to maximize their profits. Not one. I had hoped that we had a wonderful conference, so I'm a little bit despondent. We had a wonderful conference in November last year, hosted by AIDC and by the FES. We simply had no capability, and that's why I kept on asking you, Sean, what are you going to do with all of what we have done here? We have no capacity of ensuring that that is put on the face of every worker in South Africa to know the type of information that should make them very angry that South Africa's energy is being used by multinational corporations from Europe to milk the country dry, whilst ensuring that the rest of us live literally in darkness. Our hope is that this is not going to be a conference in vain, and that those summaries that you are speaking about, dear comrades, will be put somewhere in our face, in the face of our members, in the face of the leadership in particular, so that they can drive a program that will inform everybody that indeed, unless we can stand up, unite in South Africa, in our region, at the African continent, and in our southern hemisphere, if we don't unite and battle in the streets, we will then be reduced into some kinds of tourists who look at when is the next conference to dust off our identity documents and passports and head to the to the airport and come back, make no change whatsoever to how workers relate to the calamity that is unfolding in our country. So this one is going to be different, isn't it? And we're going to do that almost immediately, I have been assured. Almost immediately, what came out of these 3 days will be put on the face of the leadership that is not here, on the face of the membership across all of the organizations that are here and or not here, so that we can begin to mobilize in the streets. Power concedes nothing without a struggle. That ought to be our slogan going forward. There will be no sweets handed over to us because we have a beautiful argument to make in our discussion documents. But we will only be entertained in discussions that are meaningful the day we can unite and fight together, and in order to ensure that we rescue energy from the clauses of profit maximizers on the other side. With that, thank you very much, dear comrades. Amanda.